Hello. So we are done with our business unit and we have proceeded to another topic, which is known as the stock exchange. I believe this is not a strange term to us. Okay. So first of all, as usual, we begin our lesson with the definition. And this definition is not other than the definition for the stock exchange. Okay. So what is the stock exchange? What is the stock exchange? So the stock exchange is simply a market where shares or stocks are sold and bought. So a market where shares are sold and bought is what's referred to as the stock exchange. So any place where shares will be bought and sold, it will be called the stock exchange. Okay. So before we proceed, let's write the definition that we have said so that we clearly understand what we are talking about. Okay. So we have said that the stock exchange is simply the market, isn't it? So this is the market where, so it's not just an ordinary market. It's not just a ordinary market, but a market where shares are sold and bought. Okay, so if you are a shareholder and you buy okay, if you want to be a shareholder, there it's to buy shares. Okay, so there the place or the markets that you buy shares from will be referred to as the stock exchange. Is it the stock exchange? So this is what exchange the stock exchange is. So if you were told to define what the stock exchange is, just say the market where shares are sold and bought. For that you'll be awarded a mark. And you should know that this stock market is so highly developed. It's so highly developed that members of the public are not allowed to sell or buy shares direct, but through agents. Okay, so here on the stock market, the members of the public are not allowed to sell or buy shares direct, but they buy or sell shares through the agent. Okay, so we've got this important statement which says this stock market is so developed. Okay, it is highly developed. Okay, and this high development, it's the one that makes it difficult for the public, for the members of the public to buy shares directly. Okay, so since it's high developed, the members of the public, members of the public are not allowed to buy or sell shares directly. So to buy or sell shares directly. Okay, so since the members of the public are not allowed to sell or buy shares public, how do they sell or buy those shares? How do they sell or buy those shares? So they buy those shares or sell those shares through the agents, So here it's where the agency comes in. So they buy shares through the agents. Okay, so since the reason the public members buy shares through the agent, it's because they are not allowed to buy or sell shares directly, because this stock exchange are highly developed. They are highly developed, and these agents includes the stock broker. So we've got the stock broker. Okay, the stock brokers are one of the agents that through where the public members buys share or sells share at the stock exchange. Okay, and the other thing that you need to know about the stock exchange is that buying shares at the stock exchange is an investment. Okay, is an investment. So buying share at the stock market is an investment. So you can write that buying shares here is an investment. Okay, so buying shares at the stock market or at the stock exchange is an investment. So we know that every investment has its has the profit has its benefit. We invest to have benefits or to have profit, isn't it? That's the reason we invest. And so the reward of this investment is a share of the profit made. The reward for this investment is simply the share of the profit. So they are going to share the profit they have made on the shares that are bought. Okay, so we have said that this investment, the reward for the investment, so reward for the investment is the profit made, is a share of the profit made. So this is the reward. So the reward is simply the share of the profit made. Okay, so when you invest, expect your reward to be a share of the profit that will be made. Another important thing that you need to know about the stock exchange is that money invested in these shares is never refunded. The money will be never refunded even if you experience a certain situation that really need emergency money. Okay, so we have said that the money invested here, invested in these shares is never refunded, and it will never be refunded. It's never refunded. Okay, so the money invested in these shares is never refunded. Okay, the reason it's not refunded, it's because it is used by the companies as capital. The company will use that as capital, so hence the money won't be refunded. Okay, so you can add here the reason it's not refunded, it's because it's used as capital to the company, so it's very difficult for the company to get from the same capital and refund your money. And this capital that the company use, that the company gets from the money that you invested, it is used by the company's capital, or it's used by the company. That capital is used by the company to buy fixed assets. So the company will use that money invested to buy fixed asset. Okay, so we've got fixed assets. So where does the fixed asset comes from? They comes from the money that the shareholders invest in the shares. And these fixed assets includes buildings, machineries, okay, there are many, we can't manage to mention it. Okay, so these are the fixed assets that are bought using the money that is invested by the shareholders through the shares. And these assets are permanent and remain in use for, yes, these assets, they are permanent and remain in use for many years. Okay, so we have said that these assets, the assets are permanent and they remain in use for many years. Okay, they remain in use for many years, and this makes it very difficult to for the company to refund the money that you invested in the shares. Okay, so let's say since the money is not refunded, let's say the shareholders who bought that certain shares, who bought those certain shares, want his money back, So if he wants his money back, he's going to look for someone who can buy those shares, going to sell those shares to that person and have his money back. So I've said that in case the shareholder wants to have his money back, he has to find someone to buy his shares. Okay, so we can write before we say many things. So we have said that in case of emergencies, right, there are certain emergencies that happen that need instant money. So we've said that in case the shareholder is simply a person who has shares on the stock exchange or in the certain company, so in the certain company. So in case the shareholder wants his money back, he has to find someone. So he has to find someone to buy his shares. So first of all, we need to talk about this someone, so we're going to write it. Okay, so he has to find someone to buy his shares, and the shares, let's write them. So what we talk about this. Okay, so in case the shareholder wants his money back, he has to find someone. Okay, so in case you invest in a certain company and you need your money back, you can sell those shares to someone. Okay, and this someone, the same someone who buys this share is referred to as the second or subsequent buyer, buyer. So this someone is the second or subsequent buyer. Okay, so we've said that this someone that we're talking about, which is this one who buys the shares. Okay, this someone is what we're referring to as the second or subsequent buyer. Okay, so this is the person who is going to buy your shares. The person is called the second or subsequent buyer. So here you can add a buy, and these shares will no longer be called shares. They will be called second hand shares. These shares will be referred to as second hand shares. So when the shares are sold, when these shares are sold, they will be referred to as second hand shares. They will be referred to as second hand shares. Okay, they will be referred to as second hand shares because they were owned by a certain individual and later he decided to sell them because he needed money. Okay, and the same second hand shares, they can be sold and bought at the same market, which is the stock exchange. These shares, you can find them at the stock market. You can buy them or you can sell them at the stock exchange market. Okay, so this is all about the stock exchange market. Okay, so what is the function of the stock exchange? What is the function of the stock exchange? So we've got the functions of the stock exchange. So kindly comment, subscribe and like the video. So functions of the stock exchange. Okay, but don't abbreviate like this. I'm doing this to save time. So the following are the function of the stock exchange. We talked of the market. We said that it's a market where shares are sold and bought. So it provides market for shares. It provides marketplace where shares can be sold and bought. So that's the first function. Simply, so function are same as the importance of the stock exchange. The importance of the stock exchange. So don't get confused when they ask you the importance of the stock exchange. It's the same as the function. Don't be like, no, Basa never talked about this. It's one and the same. So number one, we've said that it provides a marketplace where shares can be sold and bought. So provide market place where shares can be bought and sold. Okay, so it provides a marketplace where shares can be bought or sold, where shares can be sold and bought. The second function is that it enables promoters and companies to raise capital. It enables promoters and companies to raise capital. So this is one. This is two. And on two, we have said that it enables promoters and companies to raise capital. And this capital that they have raised will be used to expand their businesses, isn't it? It will be used to stand. Okay, so sorry. So we said that it enables promoters and companies to raise capital. And the capital will be used to expand their business or start businesses, isn't it? Okay, so the other function or importance of the stock exchange, it's that it compensates members of the public who are defrauded. Compensate members of the public who are defrauded, to compensate members of the public who are defrauded. Okay, so this is what it does. Okay, this is what it does. So to add more function of this, we need to create a space for this. So make sure that you have written what you are saying. So make sure you write as I say. You write as I say. That's what we move. Okay, so we still on the function of the stock exchange. The functions of the stock exchange. The fourth function of the stock exchange, it's that it provides local government bonds. It provides local government bonds. So local government bonds simply means loans to the local government. It provides loans to the local government. So the local government will go there and lend money and borrow money from the lenders at the stock exchange, and that money will be returned with the interest. So this is the fourth. We have said that it provide local government bonds, and the bonds that we're talking about are simply loans to the local government. Okay, the other function of the stock exchange, it is also providing government with the bond rather than the local government. It also provides the central government with the bonds. They say the same happens. The government will borrow money from the lenders at the stock exchange. So this is fifth. Provide government bonds, and that's loans that the government has gotten from the stock exchange will be used to develop infrastructures in our country. Okay, so I believe these are many. There are many. Okay, so these are many. Okay, so now let's look at the members of the stock exchange. Who are the members of this stock exchange that we are talking about? So who are these members? So the stock exchange is mainly made up of two members. So we've got members. Okay, so the stock exchange is mainly made up of two members, and these are the members. We have the stock broker, and the jobbers, and the jobbers. So these are the members. We've got the stock brokers and the jobbers. Okay, so let's look at the stock brokers. Who are these stock brokers? So these stock brokers are simply licensed and authorized professionals. Okay, are just licensed and authorized professionals who are trained to help the general public. Okay, and they help the general public to sell and buy shares on the public. Okay, on the stock market, on the stock exchange. So I've said that these stock brokers, they are simply licensed. So they have license, they are licensed and authorized professionals. Okay, authorized professionals who are trained to help the general public. So they help the general public to sell and buy shares. And where do they buy shares? The shares are bought at the stock exchange. The shares are bought at the stock exchange. These shares are bought at the stock exchange. So this is who the brokers are. The brokers are simply licensed and authorized professionals who are trained to help the general public sell and buy shares at the stock exchange. At the stock exchange. Okay, so let's now talk about the jobbers. Who are the jobbers? So the jobbers are simply the dealers who buy and sell shares for themselves. So this one, they buy and sell shares for themselves to make profit. They do this in order to make profit. So we've said that these jobbers, the jobbers are simply dealers who buy and sell shares for themselves. So this, they do sell shares for themselves without any help from the stock brokers, and they buy and sell shares at the stock exchange. So these dealers are simply businessmen. These dealers are simply businessmen. Okay, so for today, this the lesson, we end from here. We're going to continue from where we have ended in the next lesson. Have a blessed day and night, and don't forget to answer the work that I'm going to send in the group.